You are now within minutes of horror because this new respiratory sickness that is affecting dogs is spreading across the country. This new unknown and potentially life-ending respiratory sickness for dogs was seen spreading in a few states last week, but as of Monday, it has now spread among 14 states in the United States. These states do consist of California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. This mysterious sickness was first reported in Oregon back in 2023 of August. Since then, since that initial report, over 200 cases have broke out in Oregon alone. These other states that are affected by this mysterious dog sickness have not reported how many dogs have been affected by this sickness as of yet, but they are stating that it is growing rapidly. Scientists and veterinarians alike in Colorado, another state that has been affected by this mysterious dog sickness, are working intensively to try to figure out what's going on here. They are saying this mysterious sickness is nothing like kennel cough. This new mysterious sickness can cause tracheobronchitis, which is inflammation of the airways, and it can last anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. It's also very aggressive. It can go from being acute to quickly turning severe in as little as 24 to 36 hours. They are saying that this chronic respiratory sickness is likely spread through close contact and breathing in the same air as an infected animal. Experts are saying until they get this under control, it's best to avoid dog parks and kennels if you can. But again, scientists and veterinarians are saying they don't know how this originated. They know how to stop your dog from possibly catching it by stopping your dog from going to large gatherings with other dogs. They also know when this might have started, but they don't know really where or how this originated. Now, I'm going to pose a very hypothetical question to you. Let's say a couple years back, or even a year back, there was a persons, or even a company that was experimenting with one animal, let's say a dog. And then a year later, this massive dog sickness that is unknown to veterinarians and scientists alike breaks out. Do you A, investigate that organization or person? Or B, do you just leave it alone? If you say A, well, congratulations, you're not a plant. You're a person that thinks outside the narrative that is fed to you by the media. There was a report from a conservative-led animal rights group, but it was bipartisan, meaning Democrats and Republicans were behind this report, alleging that Dr. Grouchy oversaw the use of NIH funding for research that subjected beagle puppies to cruel treatment. A bipartisan group of House members led by Nancy Mace, a Republican from South Carolina, sent a letter to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, and its director, Dr. Grouchy, asking for more information about the research. It addressed what representatives called grave concerns about reports of costly, cruel, and unnecessary taxpayer-funded experiments on dogs. Again, as of 2021, experiments on dogs. Now, there will be some people that will say, well, this took place in 2021. Nothing spread in 2022, so this doesn't make much sense. There are no dots connecting here. Until you realize that 2023 going into 2024 is the election year cycle, and we always have an election year sickness. The letter was a response to a report from White Coat Waste, a nonprofit watchdog organization led by conservative strategist Anthony Belletti. Now, again, you're going to hear a lot of conservative this, conservative that, making it seem like politics are at play here, that those against Dr. Grouchy and NIAID are crazy conservatives that are once again attacking Dr. Grouchy. But again, I want you to remember this was a bipartisan joint effort, meaning, again, Democrats and Republicans joined forces to go ahead and research this. The organization also claims it was the first to point out that United States taxpayer money was funding work at the Institute of Virology. Well, come to find out, the United States government was doing just that. They were using taxpayer dollars, citizen dollars, to fund this lab, and they did not stop funding this lab until July of 2023. This lab was under investigation by the United States for possibly, quote unquote, possibly leaking the C-19, but at the same time, we were funding them with United States taxpayer dollars. Make that make sense. In a blog post, White Coat Waste said it obtained documents about the latest research project via a Freedom of Information Act request. It posted screenshots of documents showing a toxicity study involving 46 beagle puppies ages 6 to 8 months old conducted by NIAID contractor SRI Biosciences. Now, the only animals involved in these studies with this contractor were dogs. In a response, NIAID said the contract for preclinical pharmacology and toxicology services was conducted as required in animal models by the FDA, in compliance with good laboratory practices guidelines and in a facility accredited by the Association for Assessment and Accreditation of Laboratory Animal Care, or its equivalent. NIAID states all they were doing were vocal chordectomies, or debarking these dogs, help to reduce noise and help fight back things that possibly reduce hearing or cause hearing loss. NIAID states that loud barking can cause hearing loss in people and possibly stress out other animals. This was all fine and dandy of an explanation until photos started to leak. There were 3 instances of NIAID funding experiments on dogs, one at NIAID itself, one at the University of Georgia, and another in Tunisia. Now, I'm not going to show the photos here, but get this. These photos show beagles, likely under sedation, with their heads inside a mesh net, allowing for sandflies to bite them. Sandflies' bites draw blood and can transfer the parasites responsible for diseases. This sickness these sandflies are spreading to these dogs that is not common in the United States is called visceral leishmaniasis. Funny enough, this sickness that is not common to the United States, the only people in the United States that do have it are known to travel abroad. Well, this sickness is known to attack the respiratory system. Isn't that just a weird and bizarre coincidence? Now, a study published in July of 2021, PLOS Neglected Tropical Sicknesses, cited support from NIAID, supporting this exact same study. But NIAID later came out and said, no, we didn't support this study, we supported another study, giving jabs to beagles that are infected with visceral leishmaniasis. I'm not going to call it that again because I am having difficulty saying that word. I'm just going to call it VL for short. So NIAID was saying, yeah, the magazine has that all wrong. We were not giving beagles VL, we were giving them the jab to help fight off VL. Now, as these beagles were being bitten up by these sandflies, possibly infecting them with VL, Dr. Grouchy also caught criticism as a NIH letter to the House Committee on Energy and Commerce revealed new complications in the C19 origin debate. The NIH acknowledged that their grantee EcoHealth Alliance subcontracted to the Institute of Virology and had altered bat C19s to make them potentially more infectious to humans. However, they're saying that these sicknesses could not have become SARS-CoV-2, as the letter states. So even if this had nothing to do with the C19, which I don't believe, is nobody going to ask the question, why are they making bats more infectious to humans? Shouldn't it be the other way around? Now, Dr. Grouchy does state he never signed off on any of these experiments being done to dogs by NIAID, but we do have to remember that Dr. Grouchy was the director of NIAID from 1984 to 2022. These experiments were known to be happening in 2021, possibly even before that, and they are possibly still happening today. Now, who knows what other tests were being conducted to these dogs, but I am sure it was more than just sandflies. I mean, does anybody really connect the dots anymore? We have dogs being purposely infected and being bitten by parasites that cause a respiratory sickness, VL. 2 years later, election year cycle comes around, we have dogs with a mysterious respiratory sickness spreading across the United States. And probably just a coincidence. I mean, at least right now, there's no mysterious respiratory sickness spreading among humans, unless you count what's going on in Asia and in Washington, D.C. But again, that's probably just one big coincidence. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, because any engagement does help this channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.